And it looked like Caitlin Clark has suffered yet another hard foul, and the referees failed to make a call.
Caitlin Clark just took a hit on live television that looked more like a WWE main event than a WNBA basketball game. And once again, the referees acted like it was nap time. You'd think a professional league might, I don't know, protect their rising star. But nope. Either the officials are Atlanta Dream superfans, or they need to get their vision checked immediately. This wasn't just basketball. It was a full-blown action movie, and Clark was somehow cast as the villain, the victim, and the unsung hero, all in one scene. If you missed what unfolded in Atlanta, consider yourself lucky. Clark sure didn't.
One of the biggest hurdles for Caitlin Clark and Indiana Fever last season was the WNBA referees. Now, the front office made it their business to revamp the team, bring in more aggressive players to help them get further in the WNBA season and possibly win a WNBA championship. But before any of that stuff could even get done, we have to take a look at the misguided missile that can destroy everything this upcoming season, and that is the WNBA referees and this secret agenda.
There she was, Caitlin Clark, the highlight machine with handles so smooth they should be illegal in all 50 states, just trying to do her job and torch the Atlanta Dream. But somewhere along the line, basketball rules were swapped out for wrestling scripts, because what took place on that court wasn't hoops, it was full contact mayhem. And the referees, either blindfolded or asleep. Let us know what you think of the corrupt referees down in the comments. Let's go.
A year and another case of WNBA referees dropping the ball, not making the right calls when it come to Caitlin Clark. Bruh, how we one game away for the start of the season and we have already Caitlin Clark getting fouled extremely hard. Look back at the referee like, damn.
Picture this. Caitlin Clark, fresh off melting nets with Steph Curry range jumpers and dishing assists that defy logic, walks into the game with poise, skill, and a healthy habit of turning elite defenders into traffic cones. Naturally, the Dream weren't having it. And the refs? They looked about as motivated as a screensaver on sleep mode. Not a whistle, not a warning. It's as if the only foul they recognized was someone sneezing too loud in the stands. You have to wonder, are these refs even watching the same game we are? Because she wasn't just bumped, she was straight up launched. And the refs? They responded with the energy of someone checking out at 4:59 p.m. on a Friday.
Y'all got it. And that's exactly how I'm feeling right now, bro. Like, at this point, watch this play, guys. No call whatsoever. No call whatsoever. But they will call Caitlin Clark getting a technical. They will call Caitlin Clark getting a technical foul.
Clark drove into the paint, eyes on the rim, ready to convert a simple layup. What she got instead was a chaotic cluster of flying limbs. Meanwhile, the referees kept their whistles firmly lodged in their pockets, maybe waiting for actual blood before acknowledging a foul. Or maybe they were testing out a new rule. No calls unless the player physically combusts.
How much of the jealousy of Clark is because the insane amount of publicity she gets? How much of the jealousy is because she gets so much money from endorsements? How much of it is because she's white? How much of it because she's straight? I have no idea. And I have no idea what percentage of the women are jealous and to what degree. I can't get in their minds. I have no idea. I don't know if the black players are more jealous than the white players. They're all jealous. Well, I don't think all of them, some of them, most of them seem to be. But all I know is that the refs, if the players are going to treat her, be physical with her, the refs have to protect her, not because she's Caitlin Clark, but because the fact that it's the right thing to do.
Now, if this was a YMCA pickup game where fouls are optional and the scoreboard is run by a 12-year-old, maybe you let that slide. But this is the WNBA. The crowd gasped, social media exploded, and the game trudged on as if nothing had happened. Like Clark just slipped on her own greatness rather than getting leveled by a 3-player blitz. And this wasn't some isolated hiccup either. This has become a theme. Caitlin Clark is getting treated like the league's official crash test dummy throughout the year last season. And yet, despite all this madness, Caitlin Clark did what Caitlin Clark always does. She dominated.
When I say this, the Atlanta Dream, not quite Nate Tibbetts. If you guys know anything, like Nate Tibbetts, literally like he would throw 17 different looks at Caitlyn per quarter. He would throw a different look at Caitlyn every single possession. However,
you could throw her in a tornado full of dodgeballs and she'd still find a way to hit a logo three. She kept the Fever offense flowing like a symphony, her passes cutting through defensive traffic like a hot knife through skepticism. It wasn't just basketball, it was art. Quantum-level thinking paired with street-level flair. Clark sees plays like a grandmaster sees chess moves. She's orchestrating a masterpiece while defenders are stuck playing Go Fish. While most would have been rattled, Clark's only reaction was to tighten her ponytail and hit another shot from 30 feet. And now we get to the numbers. The only part of the game that refuses to lie. Because even when the refs checked out, Clark checked in. She finished with stat lines that would make any coach weep with gratitude. She didn't just survive, she thrived. And she made it clear that no amount of uncalled contact could slow her down.
Indiana Fever fans, we got another W in the preseason against the Atlanta Dream, 81-76. There's a lot that went on in this game. So this was a very competitive game. All the way through, they were given full court defense on Caitlin Clark. For the most part of the game, the starters did sit after 3. Caitlin Clark finished with 13, 7, and 6. She could have had 12 to 15 assists. Wait until you see the highlights. She did drop a couple bombs. She hit 3 3-pointers.
So here's the real question. Why isn't anyone protecting the league's biggest draw? The answer might just lie in the WNBA's own top brass.
With the increased attention this year, there's also been increased scrutiny about the quality of refereeing. Curious if there has been any conversation about whether it's referee pay, referee training, anything to ensure that is as good as it can be.
Enter Cathy Engelbert, the WNBA commissioner, who's been suspiciously quiet while Caitlin Clark continues to take hits harder than anyone else in the league. You'd think the person tasked with growing the game would recognize that letting your marquee player get bodied with zero whistle support is not a great growth strategy. But nope, radio silence. And it's starting to look like this might not just be bad refereeing. It's starting to feel intentional. A subtle, organized resistance to Clark's meteoric rise. A refusal to admit that she's changing the league for the better, whether they like it or not.
Obviously, not every, they're humans, looking at technology. Basketball is a little more complex than tennis, for instance, around technology of officiating. So we're looking at a variety of different dimensions. But
it's like there's an internal panic that Clark's stardom is too bright, too fast. And the reaction? Let her earn it the hard way. No special treatment. No fair treatment either, apparently. Just elbows, bruises, and ghost calls. And yet, Clark refuses to back down. Every bump, every no call, every cheap shot, it just fuels her fire. In a league that claims to champion its stars, you'd expect better. You'd expect accountability. But what we've seen instead is a whole lot of shoulder shrugs and shrugged whistles.
But I know it's a passionate issue. Every fan group, I love when I go into market and every fan group I meet with, they usually wait and ask it as the last question of the night, but they do ask about officiating, which I appreciate the passion for that.
So if the WNBA won't stand up for Caitlin Clark, the fans will. Because we're not just watching a player, we're watching a generational talent being tested by everything except the actual rules of basketball. And she's passing with flying colors. So to the refs, the dream. And yes, Commissioner Cathy Engelbert, this isn't just a game anymore. It's a spotlight. And it's shining bright on everything you're not doing.
If this would have been a regular season game, I believe Caitlin Clark very much flirts with a triple-double in this game. If this is a regular season game, because she was heading down that road, she only played 23 minutes.
Going back to the Atlanta game, Clark dished out assists like she was hosting a national giveaway. Left hand, right hand, under the leg, over the shoulder, and occasionally through a vortex of defenders too distracted by trying to body her up to realize she was 3 steps ahead. You'd think Atlanta would catch on, but no. Clark saw the court like a grandmaster sees a chessboard, mapping every move 10 steps before it happened. And when they doubled her, she sliced through it like a hot knife through butter, not even breaking stride. You could practically hear the collective, "uh-oh" from the crowd every time she hit the gas. Defenders froze, not because they didn't care, but because they were stuck between admiration and confusion.
Caitlin Clark, in 23 minutes of play, 13 points, 6 rebounds, 7 assists. In 23 minutes, Caitlin Clark already shows all of us who are watching along, stay tuned, folks. Multiple triple-doubles are coming this season.
She pulled up from 3 with the posture of someone adjusting a crooked painting. Casual, precise, mildly annoyed it wasn't already perfect. Every shot was poetry in motion, each swish a syllable. The ball barely touched the net. She placed shots like she was decorating a cake, not trying to lead a professional basketball team. Her opponents? They stood around with the body language of people who just had their credit cards declined at brunch, stunned, embarrassed, and praying for it to end soon. The Dream looked less like a defensive unit and more like extras in a biopic about Caitlin Clark's rise to greatness.
You guys saw what I did in 23 minutes. Wait until I'm playing 30 plus. Wait until I'm playing 35 minutes. Wait until my chemistry with my teammates are all the way there. Wait until Stephanie White fine-tunes this offense around me a little bit more, tweak something here, tweak something there, and we get really into the swing of things. If you're a Caitlin Clark fan, an Indiana Fever fan, you got to be happy with what you're seeing from Caitlin Clark.
And she didn't stop there. Clark's defensive awareness was the kind you'd expect from someone with GPS, X-ray vision, and the instincts of a hawk. She anticipated every screen, slid perfectly into lanes, and fought through contact like it was a pre-game routine. When Atlanta crashed the boards, Clark didn't just box out. She boxed them up and shipped them off with a tracking number. Meanwhile, she was absorbing more hits than a viral meme and kept her composure like it was glued on. By halftime, the average player would be seeking medical attention or legal counsel. Clark? She came out grinning, ready for more.
And from where they're coming from when she does indeed hit them. You know, just comes off and cash. It's easy money from distance, right? And that's not the only play. She shot a bunch of it, and it's been the whole preseason where it looks to me like on her deepest shots.
Let's circle back to the officiating, or lack thereof. At one point, an Atlanta player literally hacked her across both arms on a shot attempt. Textbook foul. Everyone saw it. Except the referees, who apparently had better things to do, like stare at the ceiling and contemplate their weekend plans. The whistle didn't even flinch. It's like the officials were trying to get scouted by the WWE and thought no calls was part of the audition. What kind of message does that send? That WNBA's marquee star can be tossed around like a beach ball at a concert, and the league's response is a shrug? It's not just about Clark. It's about setting the tone for every young girl watching, thinking that to succeed in this game, you better be okay getting clotheslined with no consequences. It's a bad look, plain and simple.
I need to say this. In the blue uniforms, you can tell Caitlin Clark looks much stronger, much thicker, much more definition, more muscular. The clothes are fitting a little tighter this year than they did last year, and I don't think she went down a size. I think she bulked up a size.
Even the broadcasters couldn't hide their disbelief. They started with analysis, shifted into sympathy, and then slowly slid into existential dread. By the third quarter, they were practically begging for adult supervision on air. One muttered, "Wow," so many times it became his unofficial catchphrase. You could tell they were just one body check away from calling for federal assistance. But Clark? She didn't complain. No wild gestures. No staring down refs like a soap opera villain. She just kept doing her job, better than anyone else on the floor. Step back threes, pocket passes, buzzer beaters. If it was in the playbook, she ran it. And if it wasn't, she invented it on the spot. Every time Atlanta tried something new, she responded like, "Cute. Now watch this."
So, you know, in addition to how easily it looks like she's shooting those threes and hitting those threes in the clip that she's doing it, you know, going to the rack, all these various things that show she's even stronger than she was a year ago. And you see it in the strong numbers. I mean, 13 points, 6 boards, 7 assists in 23 minutes of action.
By the fourth quarter, the Dream were out of tricks and hope. They threw full court pressure, half-court traps, and maybe even a kitchen sink at her. Nothing stuck. Clark just kept moving, like a storm cloud no umbrella could stop. Surrounded at half court by what looked like a defensive intervention, she pulled out a no-look, behind-the-back assist that made the arena collectively gasp. It wasn't just skill, it was sorcery. The Dream didn't just lose, they got outclassed in every sense of the word. And that's the reality. The WNBA claims it wants growth. It wants fans. It wants marketability. But if your officials are letting Caitlin Clark get steamrolled like she's in a demolition derby, don't be surprised when the highlight reels get drowned out by the controversy. You've got a generational star on your hands, and you're treating her like a background character.
Today, the Indiana Fever preseason has officially come, and it has officially gone.
The Indiana Fever did finish the WNBA preseason undefeated.
Clark isn't asking for special treatment. She's asking for fair treatment. Call the fouls. Protect your stars. Let the game be about basketball, not survival. Because fans didn't show up to watch a crime scene, they came to see the show. And Clark delivers every single night. So while the refs fumble their whistles and ignore the obvious, Caitlin Clark will keep doing what she does best. Dominating, dazzling, and dragging this league into a new era with or without their help. Through elbows, hard hits, and the kind of officiating that could double as performance art, Clark stands tall. Not because it's easy, but because she's just that good. Congratulations, referees. You've managed to be simultaneously invisible and the most obvious problem on the court. That takes skill, or something like it. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark's already lacing up for the next game. And this time, she won't just be battling defenders, she'll be outplaying the entire system. Let us know what you think of the corrupt referees down in the comments. Like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss out. Click the video on the screen, and we will see you in the next one.